In politics now, Democratic candidate for the U.S. Senate, Beto O'Rourke, took his campaign to Robstown today.
To have a child, gets married here in Corpus Christi or in El Paso and has a child, and that child will not be able to be a U.S. citizen. That's something that was just proposed this last week because of where their parents came from, regardless of their service or the distinction that they provide to our hometown.
O'Rourke was at the Richard Borchard Fairgrounds this morning. You heard just a little bit of what he was saying. He stirred the crowd with his remarks on President Trump's immigration stance, calling it un-American, and sticking by his own campaign points, including the need to raise teacher pay, education reform, and improving health care for military veterans. Points that voters like Mary Jane and Juan Cantu find so important.
We both have children that need special insurances and care, and actually grandchildren, and I think that's a very important issue, and friends that are teachers that need our support.
Of course, O'Rourke's opponent is Republican Ted Cruz. He will be in Corpus Christi this Saturday at the American Bank Center, and we will be covering Ted Cruz when he is here as well.